The new Prado has 3 product core values. In this interview, Chief Engineer Arimoto will explain the points focused on and challenges encountered in developing this vehicle. Land cruisers have a tradition of off-road performance. The new Prado inherits and advances this DNA. Here, Chief Engineer Arimoto explains what points he focused on. With the new Prado, we worked to improve both off-road and on-road performance. The key to those efforts was increasing overall frame rigidity. Increased frame rigidity allows for greater suspension movement and a more refined ride. This pursuit of greater ride comfort also leads to enhanced off-road performance. We spent a lot of time discussing how exactly to increase frame rigidity, which joints to focus on, which panels should be thinner or thicker, what to reshape, and how. These were all hotly debated topics. The new Prado's design concept phrase is, "From the streets of Paris to the deserts of Morocco." But bringing this concept to life resulted in arguments that raged right down to the last millimeter. The idea was for a style suited to both the city and the desert, that looked good even when dirty. For a start, the current model's plastic fender flares looked tacked on and heavy, giving the vehicle a dated look. So, we replaced them with an integrated metal construction instead. This was a huge effort. Because of the shaping required in production engineering, there were measurements that we could not reduce beyond a certain point. There was much heated discussion on how to create a rugged look while staying within those measurements, and I went round and round with the production engineering division and the designers. We made some models, trying to come up with something that everyone could be proud of, and eventually we reached a solution. In developing the new model, we tried to avoid making major changes to the platform. So we started with the premise that the dimensions would stay as they are. This was particularly true for the position of the cowl, beltline, and similar features, things you cannot generally change. However, in order to further advance the design of the vehicle, we realized that we had to move the cowl forward to make the cabin appear slightly bigger. At the same time, in order to evoke a sense of power from the side, we wanted to slightly increase the area of metal versus the area of glass. We debated how high to raise the beltline, and when we actually made the models, we were discussing it in terms of millimeters. 10, 20, how about 19? The development concept that Chief Engineer Arimoto decided on was off-road and everyday comfort. But how was this concept incorporated into the new Prado? It begins with the art of combining off-road and on-road performance into one package. The first consideration in improving the vehicle's fundamental performance was adopting an electronically modulated suspension. Toyota has a few different types of suspension control systems, but we consulted with specialists in this field to find out which suspension would yield the best off-road performance, and we selected the Kinetic Dynamic Suspension System, or KDSS. The system is almost magical, providing traction off-road while suppressing roll on-road. However, when we first began this project, nobody announced that we would be adopting KDSS, so we weren't able to secure the staff needed for its development. We had to go around to all the division managers and ask them to lend us people, telling them how great the new Prado would be if KDSS was adopted. In the end, we succeeded. So one thing was bringing out fundamental performance, and another was achieving versatile usage. To achieve this, we adopted the multi-terrain select, multi-terrain monitor, and steering angle display functions. The key inspiration for these features was digital cameras. The settings on digital cameras can be changed in an instant. When you select a particular view, the camera optimizes everything for you, choosing the right settings. This is it, we thought, and chose to use this kind of function in the multi-terrain select system. A survey asked customers what they looked for in an SUV. The second most important factor was user-friendly support functions. This was one of the reasons for the introduction of multi-terrain select. The current model has excellent maneuverability, and the new Prado aims to improve this even further. People kept saying that the current model was incredibly easy to drive. They mentioned that even though the body size was quite large, driving was surprisingly effortless. It seems that visibility is excellent, and it's easy to locate the front corners of the vehicle. The high position of the driver really makes the current model easy to drive, and this ease of driving translates to agility. I definitely wanted to take this agility to the next level in the new model. While ensuring that the exterior design showed classic Land Cruiser power, the chief engineer was equally focused on the interior. Our key concepts for the interior were intelligence, refinement, and excellent quality. As we worked towards that look, we ended up with an instrument panel that looked like it belonged in a premium sedan, and what we thought was a good interior. Unfortunately, when we actually made the models, we realized it didn't fit the Prado, so it was back to the drawing board. The right shape was the first step toward an instrument panel with elegance and a premium feel. At the same time, we didn't want anything too sleek, as it would compromise the clarity of the horizontal and vertical axes. So we very carefully integrated the smooth curves while retaining those horizontal and vertical elements. To attract minivan and passenger car users, it was necessary to enhance the utility and comfort of the vehicle. Another target was the daily versatility of the vehicle. We aimed to bring some minivan or MPV features to an SUV, like ample storage space and a variety of seat arrangements. In addition, we wanted to add extra functionality to the second row seats. Also, by making the third row seats easy to fold down, we improved the versatility of the cargo area. One issue with the current model was the lack of space for wallets and small items. If the cup holders are used to hold drinks, then there are very few places for anything else. However, the current model, as an off-road focused vehicle, had a transfer lever. So we replaced the transfer lever with an electronic switch, creating a space for loose objects. This meant diverting from the concept of the current model, but I really wanted that space. The adoption of a glass hatch was another goal, and this came out of a consideration for parallel parking. Parking is particularly tight in Europe, and when parallel parked, it's hard to open a side-opening rear door, so you can't access the cargo area. Now, the new glass hatch makes loading and unloading easy. Chief Engineer Arimoto made audio quality a high priority. We were also particular about the audio and sound design for this vehicle. I used to be in a band during my student days, and I was always concerned about how the sounds I produced came across to the audience when I performed. I was also involved in audio system development as a young engineer. You might say I wanted to attain a reputation for knowing more about sound than anyone else in the company, so I was very focused on this aspect. We worked on getting the mid to high range sounds as clear as possible, as well as producing a deep, powerful bass that resonates throughout the cabin in a big, bold SUV way. After much debate, we finally came up with what I believe is the optimal number of speakers laid out in a way that delivers this vibrant audio quality. We have also introduced JBL brand speakers in a Toyota vehicle for the first time in the European and Middle Eastern markets. We decided to go with JBL after discussion on what audio brand would make the new Prado competitive with Europe's premium SUVs. The wealth of ideas and careful attention to detail of Chief Engineer Arimoto and his team make the new Prado a vehicle of genuine capability and appeal. With this, it is set to attract not only owners of the current model, but also fans of rival SUVs and even minivan and car users.